Hello, today we are going to be talking about the aliens, and I am going to give you my opinion why I think that the aliens that are going to be based on DNA, but are going to be a little bit more advanced, let's say 1, 2, 5 or 10% difference in DNA, may still look like us and may still be similarly intelligent as we are. Few things that I want to say. One of those is that I am not a scientist and all of this is just my opinion. You know, we do not know aliens, so yeah. And the second thing is, obviously, we do not know if aliens are going to be based on DNA, if they are going to be based on carbon, but what I am going to suggest to you in this video may still work even if they are not going to be based on DNA and even if they are not going to be based on carbon. So the main point is that I have seen many videos where scientists were talking about this 1% difference in DNA between humans and chimpanzees, and they were saying like this 1% is making all of the difference. You know, I do not need to tell you difference between humans and chimpanzees. The difference is huge. And then the scientists, they suggest that imagine that you are going to have aliens, but they are going to be 1% in DNA different from us, or 2, or 5, or 10. And they are saying that basically we wouldn't be able to comprehend them, we even wouldn't be able to recognize them or something like that. And I slightly disagree with this, and I am going to tell you why. So imagine I am going to give you a little analogy. Imagine that you are going to have water and it's going to be in some fridge or in some very cold room. Let's say it's going to be minus 20 degrees Celsius, let's say 5 degrees Fahrenheit. I do not know this in Fahrenheit, but let's say that it's going to be somewhere below freezing point, you know, and it's going to be ice, you know, and then imagine that you are going to increase the temperature, but it's still going to be below zero. It's still going to be below freezing point. So let's say that you will go from minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit to maybe, you know, minus 5 degrees, minus 20 Celsius to minus 5 Celsius, or from 5 Fahrenheit to maybe 25 Fahrenheit, you are still going to have an ice, you know? And we can say in my analogy that animals, they are like ice, they are not intelligent, you know? They are intelligent in their own ways, you know? Chimpanzees and elephants and octopus and so on, they are very intelligent, but they cannot build spaceships and so on, but yeah. And then imagine that you go to 0 degrees Celsius and you are still going to have an ice, you know, let's say 32 Fahrenheit. And suddenly you are going to increase the temperature by 1 degree, and suddenly you are going to go from ice to water, you know? And in this analogy, we could say that we humans, we are like water, animals, they are like an ice, and this 1% difference in DNA is something like increasing temperature from 0 Celsius to 1 Celsius. And then someone may say that imagine what is going to happen if we are going to increase the temperature by 1 more degree, you know? If we went from 0 to 1 degrees and it made this huge difference that you no longer have an ice, but you have something liquid, you have water, imagine what is going to happen if we are going to go from 1 degree Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius, from 33 Fahrenheit 234 Fahrenheit, or I don't know this in Fahrenheit. And what is going to happen? Absolutely nothing. You are still going to have an ice cold water. And if you are going to increase the temperature by 20 degrees, you are still going to have water. It's going to be warmer, but it's going to be water, So in this sense, I would say, I don't know this, but I would say that maybe in the universe there are these thresholds, and we hit the threshold that we went from animals, from chimpanzees, or from some primates to humans, and it was this 1% in DNA. But it doesn't mean that right now every time that you are going to increase or you are going to change the DNA by 1% to the advanced level, you are going to have this threshold, So I would say that most aliens, they are also going to come from animals, and they are going to evolve to something intelligent as we are. But then there is going to be, they are going to stay in a similar level that we are, Obviously, they are going to be, maybe more intelligent, they are going to have better technology, maybe they are going to have some kind of telepathic communication or something, but yeah. Does it mean that all aliens are going to be like us? That they are not going to be, unrecognizable for us? No, because I would say that same as with the water, if you are going to, go from 0 Celsius to 20 Celsius, you are still going to have water, but water is going to be warmer. But there is another threshold, when you go to 100 degrees Celsius, or I don't know, 130, 40, I don't know, Fahrenheit, suddenly you are not going to have water anymore, but you are going to have a vapor, And maybe something similar is going to happen with the aliens, that they are going to stay for a long time in evolution as we are, but then they are going to hit another threshold, which is like going from water to vapor, and in that way we wouldn't be maybe able to recognize them, Maybe they wouldn't be living in the body anymore, maybe they would be living in photons, in an electromagnetic field, in some consciousness field, or something that we cannot even imagine. So yeah, so I would say that there are going to be aliens, maybe, that are going to hit this kind of threshold, that we are not going to be able to recognize them. But many aliens, I would say they are going to be very, very similar to us. Now, there is one thing which I am not going to discuss in this video, I am just going to say. There is this option for, AI on our planet to become intelligent. The same thing can happen on other planets, intelligent machines. And I have no idea how this would fit to this, picture. But when we are just going to be talking about the aliens, like biological machines and so on, I would say that there are these thresholds. It doesn't mean that you need to change DNA by 100% because you need to change water by 100 degrees. It is just an analogy to tell you that if you would have aliens who would be maybe 5-10% different in DNA, if they would be based on DNA, or if they would be based on something else, but there will be this little difference, they may still look or be similarly intelligent like humans, only slightly more. So yeah, this is just my opinion. I am not a scientist, but I think that maybe it may be like so. So, you may write me down in the comments if you agree with me or disagree with me. I am not saying that this is how it is because I don't know. This is just my opinion. Reality may be different, but yeah. So yeah, this is it. This is all. Thank you very much. I hope that right now you have some kind of new perspective maybe, but yeah. Thank you. Take care and goodbye.